Here at Greenwich Hospital in Sydney's northern suburbs, an innovative pain clinic has opened that seeks to help people who face long-term chronic pain, to help them back to health and to find hope again. Three clinicians who lead that clinic, Professor Phil Siddall, a pain specialist, Rebecca McCabe, a physiotherapist and Sister of Mercy, and Dr. Robin Murray, a clinical neuropsychologist, lead that clinic. And they've also recently authored a new book called The Pain Book. Today we're going to speak to Phil, Rebecca and Robin about the Pain Book, why they wrote it and how it can help all of us find hope when it hurts. Let's start at the beginning. Why did you write the Pain Book?
Well, Peter, I've been working in the area of pain for a long time, and I work as a clinician and also as a researcher. And particularly over the last 15, 20 years, there have been huge advances in terms of how we understand pain. And importantly for the book, there are changes in our understanding of what we call neuroplasticity. In other words, how the brain constantly changes. And that's really important in terms of dealing with pain, because it gives a whole new avenue to helping people not only cope with their pain, but also to treat the pain and reduce it. So I felt that there was a real need for a book that talks about some of these recent changes from a science point of view that relates to how we treat pain clinically. So that was the first reason. The second is that also there aren't many books out there that take a whole person approach to treating pain. Of course, it's fairly standard that we take a psychological approach, but looking beyond that, we know that pain affects people at very deep levels in terms of things like their meaning, their purpose in life. And not many books address those. So I wanted to try and present a book that takes us right through from the mechanisms, how we understand neuroplasticity and the brain works, right through to those deeper issues of how pain affects us and how we can treat pain.
What about you, Rebecca?
I think the reason we got together and wrote the book is that pain is such a huge problem in our society. There's so many people suffering from pain, chronic pain, that is pain that can't be cured. So it was our attempt to get together and write a book that can help people who are suffering from pain. We know that 1 in 5 people are suffering with persisting pain, and it can be described as a hidden epidemic. So that was sort of like the motivation for me to get together with Phil and Robin to produce something to help people in our community.
Just to go back a little, Phil and Rebecca and I met with a group, a clinical group, for a couple of years, and we thought about the consequences of persistent pain on the person's spirit as well as on the body. And I think it's important to recognize that persistent pain really affects the person's sense of self. So in getting together and thinking about the book, it was important to me to focus on almost the lost sense of self that occurs when a person suffers from persistent pain, and to help them regain that sense of the spirit and the connection with the wider world.
So what do you think are some of the ways that the Pain Book will benefit people?
It's a practical guide with practical tools and skills to help people live with pain. So I think that's one of its values. But it doesn't just stop there. It goes into the effect of pain, or the deeper effect of pain on people. So we talk about courage and hope and meaning.
It's really important that people understand the effect of pain, the connection with the brain and with the spinal cord, pain pathways we call them, and to understand the difference between the pain that we all suffer when we hurt ourselves and it's temporary, and the pain that is persistent, and the difference between one kind of pain and pain that is generated from damage to nerves. So that aspect of the book I find really important in helping people really understand what's going on.
The book's been out just a few months, but we know it's selling well. What's some of the feedback you've received so far?
I think, Peter, the thing that I found interesting in one of the young women that picked it up is she said that she always thought that pain equaled damage, that when you've got pain, you've got damage. And it was like the light went on when she read, pain doesn't necessarily equal damage. You can have pain and you don't need to be fearful of moving because it doesn't necessarily mean you're damaging yourself. And that changed her life.
And one of the consistent responses that we seem to get back is that it's easy to read. People pick it up and they find that it's very easy to get into some of the things that we talk about. So particularly when we talk about mechanisms of pain, which for some people can sound a little dry or a little hard to get into, it's great to have that feedback that people are enjoying it, they're finding it interesting, and also relevant as they learn about how we can control pain through some of these understandings we have of how pain works in the brain and the nervous system. People are not only just understanding, but getting a greater sense of control.
And one woman who read the book and did the program went off on an African safari. She had many years of persistent pain and came back and brought hundreds of photos of what she'd done. So it enables people to get on with what they want to achieve in life.
That's amazing.
The other thing is, I think, the opportunity to control pain. And again, it comes back to our understanding of how the brain works and how the spinal cord works. And some people think that if you have chronic pain, there's nothing you can do. They're told that they have to live with it, they have to cope with it. Whereas again, what we've learned about the nervous system is that there are things that we can do to change it. So again, there's a hope for people to think, well, no, I'm not just stuck with this pain. There are actually things that I can learn that we talk about in the book that can actually relieve the pain and do something about it.
And what I understand is that it actually is based on a program that you offer in your pain clinic. Can you just describe what the link is between the book and the service you provide?
Yeah, well, the book really forms the basis of the program that we run. So, as we said before, we've spent a lot of time talking about what sort of things we'd like to include in our pain program. So Rebecca and Robin and myself have spent many hours thinking through what we'd like to see in a program that we run. And so really the pain book encapsulates some of those ideas. So part of it is education. And again, we do that as part of our program, looking at how pain works and what this means for how we experience pain and how we can control it. But also the skills. So we talked before about what sort of skills we can use to manage pain and treat pain, and they're also described in the book.
We often find it's just not what we say or we give, it's people in the program helping each other. And I think it's a nice connection with the book as well, because throughout the book you'll hear people who read it hear the stories of people who have been suffering with pain throughout the book. So it brings in our clinical experience as well and helps people say, hey, I'm not alone. There's someone else that's had this fear and been able to get up and walk with courage, or there's someone else that's spirit has been crushed by pain, but they've been able to find hope.
The book is really important because the program is based on the book. But the other aspect, I think, of the book and its relationship to the program is that we think it's important that people find meaning and purpose in their lives, even though they have pain, or even that pain is perhaps an opportunity to find meaning and purpose. They have more time to sit and think perhaps than they did when they were completely active.